Okay, fourth grade, it's Mr. Remedies back with part 4 of this week's Spiral Review lesson series. Today, we're chugging right towards the end of our trap strategy. Today, we're talking about the lonely A. Let's look at some learning goals and success criteria, shall we? Our learning goal today is we are learning to engage with a text using the fourth step in the trap strategy. Success criteria today, really only 2 of them. First and foremost, I can describe what TRAP stands for. Number 2, I can determine the answer to a question. So let's take a look at what our strategy stands for. We're talking T for title and author's purpose. First R is read the questions. Second R is naturally read the passage. The A is the one we'll be talking about. That's answer the questions. And tomorrow we'll be talking about proving our answers to be correct. So let's look at this step. In more detail, we're talking about the lonely A, which stands for answer the questions. So it seems simple enough. Just answer the questions, right? But there's a little bit more to it, In this step, we want to reread the questions. We did read the questions in our first R way back on Tuesday, or 2 or 3 lessons ago, whenever you're doing your lessons, right? We highlighted some key words that could help us focus our reading. And so we're going to reread those questions because we can't really accurately choose the answer without doing that. Right. Then we're going to read the answer choices. Okay, it seems simple enough. And then boom, we're going to go back and look at our notes that we learned all about yesterday. We're going to look at some of the notes and things we highlighted and indicated in lesson number 1, all about title, author's purpose, and text features. And boom, we're going to choose a correct answer. Notice, Mr. Remedies, I got good faith in you. I said we're going to choose the correct answer. The correct answer. Now we're not down for choosing any old answer. We're teaching you how to choose the correct answer. So let's give it a try. So here is a question from our example text this week, a dessert with a long history. If you notice, I went through and we highlighted some keywords. So the question is, which sentence from the article supports the idea that early frozen desserts require great effort to make? So way back in step number 2, we went through here and we highlighted the key words or phrases, sentence from the article, which tells me I'm looking for the exact sentence that appears in the article, supports the idea that early frozen desserts, that really jumps out at me, early, which probably tells me that it's going to be at the beginning of our article, since way back on Monday, we established that this article was a historical article. It was talking about the history of ice cream. Frozen desserts, which is the topic, required great effort. That really jumps out at me too, because I don't know too much about ice cream nowadays, but I think I read something about how ice cream used to be made hundreds of years ago. So now I've reread the question. I'm going to read my answer choices. The Roman Emperor Nero sent his fastest runners into the mountains to gather snow. B, the Chinese and Roman treats were unlike today's ice cream. C, these desserts were made with small pieces of frozen ice and were similar to snow cones. Or D, when people came from Europe to America in the 1700s, they brought their recipes for ice cream with them. So now that I know what my answer choices possibly are, I want to go to my notes. Bam! So you see on your screen, I got my notes. I did a good job, following my teacher's instructions on the last lesson. I have my title circled, and I have this text feature circled and highlighted and indicated in some way. Okay. So I really want to focus on the expression early, okay, which is going to tell me to go back to the beginning of the article, most likely, because I remember reading hundreds of years before there were electric freezers. That's a long time ago. That's early. And so I want to give this another read It says ancient China and Rome had iced treats. Well, ancient means a long time ago, so that's also another indicator for early. So let me give this a quick little scan. Hundreds of years ago, electropheasers, people by mixing milk and snow. That doesn't, it's, I don't know, if you're in a place with a lot of snow, milk with snow, that's not a great effort. But then here it says the Roman Emperor Nero sent his fastest runners into the mountains to gather snow. That's one of my answer choices, but I don't know if that is the correct answer. Okay. So then I would read some more here. It says when people came from Europe to America in the 1700s, they brought their recipes for ice cream with them. That's not really indicating anything with like great effort. Even though I do know like the trip from Europe to America in the 1700s was very dangerous, the making of ice cream isn't said to be very hard in this sentence here. Okay, this doesn't specifically mention anything about great effort or how the process to make ice cream was very hard. So I am leaning towards picking the A as the answer. Okay, because I know if someone's got to run into up a mountain and then get back before the ice melts, that's a pretty good effort. That's a great effort because that's going to wear you out. That's going to wear you out. So I had to chase my puppy the other day around my yard, and Miss Remy was out of breath for like 4 or 5 hours. It was ridiculous. So if a runner's got to go up into the mountains to get some ice, I bet they're going to be plumb tuckered out. So I believe A is the best choice, but I do want to review a little bit. Okay? The Chinese treats were unlike today's ice cream. That doesn't tell me anything about the effort it takes to make. The desserts were made with a small piece of frozen ice and were similar to snow cones. Well, I know a snow cone's easy to make. You just put ice in a cup and drizzle some syrup on it. And when people came to Europe, we already talked about that one. That one's close, but not quite as good as A. So I'm going to circle that and make that happen. All right. Now that we have this one answered pretty confidently, let's move on to another example. Bam. Question reads, which of these best supports the title of the article? You know, I've already done step number 2. I've read the questions, highlighted some keywords. As we mentioned in the previous lesson, they like to throw in a little, some indicators to throw you off your game. I highlighted the word best, which is one of those words that sometimes tries to trick you. The writers of this test want you to identify the best possible answer, which means there's going to be an answer choice that is pretty good that may trick you up. Don't get tricked by those. You're way too good for that. Okay, so which of these best supports the title of the article? As you can see on the screen, I have the word title underlined and highlighted in some way because I want to go back and reference the title and to make sure I really have a good understanding of what that means. So let's go, bam, back to our annotated or marked up text. Right? So I'm going to first reference the title, a dessert with a long history, right? And then I'm going to read the answer choices because Mr. Remedies forgot to go back and read the answer choices. Which of these best supports the title of the article? A, the table next to paragraph 4. B, the photograph after paragraph 5. C, the bar graph next to paragraph 8. D, the recipe after paragraph 8. Now, when we were highlighting the text and taking notes on it, I did not give you the example of some of those, but there is a bar graph that details the favorite flavors of current day customers in America of ice cream. And then there is a picture of people making ice cream, probably back in like the 1940s or 50s in this ice cream machine. However, which one best supports the title, a dessert with a long history? Okay. One of our answer choices is this table here next to paragraph 4. So, boom, there's paragraph 4. Here's my table next to, boom, got it. And then I can see by a quick glance that the table starts in the 1600s, which was over 400 years ago. That's a long time. That is a real long time. And then it goes all the way to 1920s. Well, even 1920 is still 100 years ago. Okay, and we still know that we have ice cream today. In fact, I may have a blizzard after I get done recording this video. Boom. So I'm going to go ahead and guess that A is the correct answer, right? Because these other text features aren't related to the history. Right? They do show us glimpses of the history, but they're not related to the history having being long and ice cream being around for hundreds and hundreds of years. All right, let's move on. Now that we've got some examples, this step is just going to repeat itself. I'm going to do this for every single one of my questions on the STAR test, whether I have 5 questions about the text or whether I have 6 or 7 questions about the text. Now that we have that out of the way, let's head on over to review. The 4th step in Trrap is A, answer the questions. During this step, you should reread the questions, pay attention to the highlighted keywords from step number 2, look back at your notes, choose the correct answer. Boom. All right. I think this is where you guys mostly think this is where the real hard work comes into play. But you know what? If you've taken care of business in steps 1, 2, and 3, this is going to be easy peasy, lemon squeezy for you. So, as always, you guys have been amazing. I know you're absolutely going to crush this lesson, and we will see you down the line.